January will mark the 25th anniversary of Lizzie McGuire. Like, what an incredible
Wow.
milestone. Does it feel like it's been that long? And what do you remember most about starring on the show, looking back?
Does it feel like it's been 25 years or a quarter, a quarter of a century now? Yes and no, I would say. I would say to a certain degree, it does feel like a long time ago because sometimes I will see clips of the show and be like, man, I mean that I see that as now a completely different person almost. Like that I vaguely remember, certain scenes and episodes and times from that, but I mean that was like a lifetime ago, which is crazy. But at the same time too, I feel that the show and my character have had such a big impact, I feel like, on just millennial culture as it is. And it
Yeah,
feels like I'm never separated from that. It's always been a part of my life,
right.
which I think is a bit of a blessing and a curse. But I think
Mhm.
nowadays I see it more as a blessing just because of, kind of, I mean, for one thing, how everybody looks back on it as something that they love. So
Yeah,
absolutely that's a blessing.
right. And millennials, we love nostalgia. So,
Yes,
yeah,
which is so interesting. I feel like
yes.
it's what a generation to be a part of, and a project to be a part of that. Our generation is like, yes, we want to consume more of this, or we want to talk about it more. I think it's great.
Kind of going off that, what do you think it is about Lizzie McGuire that has made it have such a long-lasting legacy and, still make it still so beloved today? I know I went to Rome last summer for the first time and went to the Colosseum and I thought about Lizzie McGuire movie way more times than I care to admit. I was about to break into song with my parents, and I was like literally the first thing I thought of when I when I got there.
And I bet you probably took a picture at either the Trevi Fountain or the Coliseum and had it with the soundtrack of "This Is What Dreams
Yes,
Are Made Of." No,
yes, totally.
I mean, yeah, no, it's kind of crazy. Of course, also I've never been to Rome to this day.
Wait,
Never been.
really?
I never
You have
went.
to
They
go.
filmed there for like a week doing exteriors, and they didn't
You need
need
to go.
Matt for exteriors. So
Yeah.
the rest of the time we were in Vancouver, Canada, which I love Vancouver, so yeah, no problem with me. But yeah, to this day I've never been to to Vancouver, or no, to Rome. I think the thing that made Lizzie so special that people still talk about it today, I feel like is a combination of a couple things. One, it's kind of from this time where the internet was still very new. Social media was not a thing. So in a way, it was kind of, I don't know, kind of untouched by a social media sphere in a way, and it wasn't as like milked dry for all that social media content. It was just a show that you would watch, every weekday or whenever it came on, and it was an exciting part of your day after school. There wasn't like a bunch of stuff you didn't come back home and watch a bunch of YouTube videos, or watch whatever was on streaming. It was like you were there
Exactly.
at that time, at that day, to watch your episode of Lizzie McGuire. And I think that's really special. And then I think the other part of it too is that the show had a lot of like really good just messages. I mean,
Yeah.
everything in there were our plot lines, even though we had really funny and silly moments, we always seemed to have a pretty clear like message that we were trying to get across, whether it was
Mhm.
about growing up, whether it was about family, about friends, about tough situations. I feel all of that was like super relevant, even to me growing up at that time. All those messages were stuff that an audience took with them through their lives, and probably held pretty dear to their hearts. So I feel like there's a lot of different things, but a lot of things that kind of made it special, which is great.
Definitely. It was relatable and comforting, but also you like learned things as well, but it wasn't preachy. And I feel like that's the problem that sometimes we get today with some of these. I mean, I love these shows,
Yeah,
but some of them are a little preachy, but it wasn't preachy. But you still
because
like
she made mistakes, and you got to see her
exactly.
make the mistakes, which was
Yes.
great.
Okay, of course I have to ask about the canceled reboot.
We did a
You
reboot. What?
I know. You mentioned a recent podcast interview that you shot 2 episodes before it was axed. Can you tell us anything about what those episodes were about or, like, the overall tone of the show? What was Matt up to? Were you happy about what Matt's storyline was?
So for the reboot, of the 2 episodes that we shot, I'm not sure even to this day how much I can divulge of
Yeah.
like plot lines and stuff like that
Understandable,
because
understandable.
yeah, but I do know, I mean, certain things were planned. I know that they were, trying to lead the show in a certain direction, and then other people at power were also trying to lead the show in a different direction. I will say that, the first 2 episodes kind of set up Lizzie as, this is her life as an adult millennial turning
Yeah,
30 and seeing her life in New York and then very quickly it all kind of falling apart and her coming back home
mhm.
and kind of in a way having to start from scratch, which I think is kind of a fun spin on it. I was pretty happy with what my character had. Matt was going to be just annoyingly successful,
Oh my gosh.
and
That's
just
so
and just
funny.
and just rubbing Lizzie's nose in it, which I think I just it's great. It's fantastic. I love that. I'm
Sounds
disappointed
great, yeah.
that we didn't get to
Mhm.
explore even more with those characters and storylines. I know there was so much planned that was going to be like what, but yeah, I mean that's the way it goes sometimes
Uh-huh.
in
Yeah.
Hollywood. I mean, I know I've even had my fair share of just pilots that
Mhm.
nobody even ever heard of that would have been fantastic, and that's just it's a typical Hollywood kind of story. But it's a shame that it was such a project that so many people were really excited about to see back on air again, and that's Hollywood.
Right, right.
Yeah.
You know, they talked about how there was creative differences, but you also said that you think it fell apart due to timing because it was like right when when COVID began. If there was an opportunity for a reboot again and the stars aligned, it was another time, and if the show was what Hillary wanted and a more mature show, do you think everyone would be down to try again, or do you think that the ship has sailed? Like we tried it, it's not going to happen again. It's not going to happen.
When I said before that like it was a timing issue, I do think it was a timing issue of kind of around the time of COVID, but I think probably the most important timing issue with why the reboot did not come to fruition was Disney Plus had not launched yet. And I
Oh,
think
wow. I didn't think
internally, yeah, so internally,
that.
Disney didn't know exactly what they wanted their streamer to be. And so I think they started out with this idea at first that the things that were going to be on Disney Plus were going to be purely family friendly. It was going to be the animated. It was going to be the classics. It was going to be stuff that was like Disney through and through.
Right.
And they were having Liz McGuire within that umbrella. That's
Mhm.
why the idea of like moving it to Hulu was not so popular, I think, within the Disney internal side. That they wanted it to be no, this is a Disney branded thing. We want
Right.
this to fit into the Disney Plus kind of shape that we want. And I think now, obviously, that's changed a whole lot. Just with the whole streaming sphere and climate, even just within Disney umbrella. Now, if you go on Disney Plus, it's a very different landscape compared to how it was when it launched.
Hulu's on Disney Plus too. You
Exactly.
have like
Yeah.
these
So
I'm like a child could see these shows.
exactly. So for me, in my opinion, I think that say we never did those 2 episodes of the reboot, and today we were going to do the reboot with the exact same maybe kind of trajectory that some of the people within the creative wanted. I think we probably would have had no issue, which is unfortunate.
Right.
But yeah, no, I think if the right people today decided that they wanted to have another crack at it, I think it would probably go without a hitch, and I think people would still be really excited to see it, just because I mean, look, we're 5 years down the road from that falling apart, and people are still talking about it and being like, "This is why I subscribe to Disney Plus." So yeah,
So hurt.
I think it would still probably do well, but time will tell if that'll happen. Just the right people have to be on board.